Hey guys, so I get this email from a friend of mine, Chris Ferguson in Minnesota, and I come to find out that Chris knows he roasts his own coffee. That's right, he roasts his own coffee beans at home when he does it in the garage. But anyway, I begged him, I said, please, can you do me a favor, come on the show and just show us how easy it is to roast coffee beans or what we gotta do if we wanted to do it ourselves, and he did. So today's episode, I'm throwing all the way to Minnesota from California. Chris, thanks for being on the show. Go ahead, dude. Show us how to do this. We really appreciate it.
All right. Well, I am Chris Ferguson. I own Good Turn Coffee, which is a coffee company I designed to support local, low-income youth stuff in the Twin Cities. So Teen Challenge, Boy Scouts, anything that focuses on helping inner-city kids or at-risk kids get out of where they are. Teach them leadership skills, give them a future. So we are a for-profit that supports nonprofits, and it's a passion. I love coffee, I love creating stuff, and I love kids. So here we are. This is my roasting setup. This is Roasty, my hot top roaster. It's well loved. It's very efficient, and I love it. It's a small roaster, but it gives me some time to reflect when I'm roasting, and gives me some time to just sit and have some quiet time and support the community. So we're gonna get started. I'm gonna show you right away how to roast coffee in a hot top, and maybe I'll show you a different method as well. So this is 9 ounces of unroasted coffee beans. This is a fairly traded organic Costa Rican bean. Very, very fragrant, a nice mellow flavor, which is really unique to Costa Rica. This isn't your parents' bitter, face-scrunching coffee. This is a nice, smooth bean. So you can see they look like little emeralds. They really don't smell at all like coffee. They don't taste like coffee. They don't crunch like coffee. They're really generally pretty awful. But what we're going to do is we're going to roast them, and you're going to see exactly what happens. So I'm going to take my funnel here, pull the top of my roaster off, and I'm going to start it. I'm going to set it for about 20 minutes, and I'll get back to why in a second. I'm going to hit start, and it's going to warm up. One of the things that we want to do when we are waiting for the roaster to warm up is we want to go through and pick out any stones or any weird-looking beans. So here's a bean right here that accidentally made its way in there, and that's actually a roasted bean. So we don't want to run that through the roaster again because that'll burn. One of the big things we want to look for is stones. Stone is not really going to hurt you, but it will hurt your grinder. So if you have a nice burr grinder or even a blade grinder, you get a little stone through there and you're going to have a bad time. It's still warming up. The temperature gauge says it's about 57 degrees, and we're going to wait until that's significantly higher. The reason we don't want to add that in there yet is because instead of roasting, the beans will actually bake. And yes, there is a difference. Roasting is a little higher temperature. Baking is just not going to get us the chemical reactions we want. All right, so while it's heating up in here, we can actually pull the front off. You can see some oil buildup on here. This is actually clear glass where the beans scrape the oil away. But this is some oil buildup that I'll get off with a toothbrush once I'm done roasting. I can unscrew the front here, and you can actually see the barrel rotating in there. And the heat coils are actually on this side right here. So this is a heat guard, so I can't actually touch the barrel while it's hot, but you can see red hot coils in there, exactly like what you see inside of an electric oven. Yep, 134 degrees. Still going. We're going to 160, and then we'll be ready to roast. So there's different ways to roast a bean. The way I do it is oh, that's the alarm that says we're ready to roast. Pull off my top, stick my funnel on there. In go my 9 ounces of beans. Throw the top back on. Now we've got 20 minutes and 3 seconds left. First thing I want to do before I do anything else is measure out my next batch of beans. So I've got my empty little container here in a digital scale. I want to get 9 ounces because that's what this roaster does. Eight ounces, add a little more. And there's 9. What we're going to listen for in about 15 more minutes we're gonna hear some cracking, and it's gonna sound like pencils breaking. That's called first crack. If I wanted a light roast, I would hit eject right there at first crack, and I would have a nice light roast coffee. If I wait till the first crack is done, about 30 to 45 seconds after that, we'll get second crack, which sounds like Rice Krispies. The start of second crack is your medium roast, and about 30 seconds into second crack is your French roast. 35 seconds is your espresso roast. Anything beyond that, you get burned garbage, and it is precise. 36 seconds, you'll ruin your coffee. Okay, so actually these are roasting a lot quicker than I thought. Here in Minnesota, it's usually very cold. So I've only been roasting in the winter when it takes significantly longer, but it's about 50 degrees today, so you can see these beans are starting to darken. We're probably going to hit first crack in about 2 or 3 more minutes here. This is called a barrel roaster. So the coffee is actually all inside here. There is a little fan on the end that draws some air through, but oh, and we're hearing first crack right now. So you can see we've got a nice light roast here. We're going to go a little bit farther. We're going to go till the start of second crack, and I'll show you a nice medium roast. Now you can actually hear the second crack. Let me get the microphone nice and close. And it does sound like Rice Krispies. You can hear that. That's my second crack. Our coffee should be about done. We should be at a nice medium roast, so I'm going to hit eject, and it's going to come out here in the cooling tray. You can see now that all the vents are open, I'm going to open the top. There is a significant amount of smoke. That's why we're out here in my garage. I did once try to roast in my fluid bed roaster inside my bathroom. Turned on the bathroom fan, thought I'd be fine. I ended up popping a circuit breaker that shut the fan off, and then I turned on all my smoke alarms. It was awesome. So don't roast inside. There's a reason we're out here. I like medium roast because it's pretty versatile. Your light roast is going to have the most caffeine because it's gone through the least amount of cooking, and caffeine hasn't burned off yet. A medium roast has a little lower acid. You can make espresso out of it. You can make my favorite Swedish egg coffee, which you can see the recipe for on my blog. And you can also make just a straight up pot of coffee. This will cool for about 5 minutes. One thing I like to do to kind of expedite things is get my maintenance done. I'll pull the fan out so that my sensor can cool in the back. Now that there's no smoke, there's really nothing to filter, so that's why this filter can just go away for a minute. This is my chaff tray. This is a safety feature of the roaster. All my chaff is collected in here, and that's from what we just roasted. And I want to empty that every time because, like I said, this is like tinder. This will start a fire if I leave it in there long enough. So that's going to go in my chaff bag. There we go. And I'm going to leave that out. It's going to suck cool air through the whole roaster. It's going to cool off a lot faster, and I'll be able to start my next batch a lot more quickly. Remember when I said that about 5 seconds can make or break your coffee? I wasn't kidding. If you don't get these cooled off in that 5 seconds, even if you take them off the heat, they can still burn. So if you're roasting them yourself, you can spritz them with water, you can put them in a colander and shake them, you can blow on them, however you want, but you have to get them cool. I'm lucky enough to have a roaster that has a built-in agitator and a motor. So these arms will go through, they're self-reversing, so if I stick my finger in there, it'll just go the other direction, and there is a fan blowing up underneath. This is how you can roast coffee at home. It's a pretty simple setup. You can sell it to your friends for a pretty nice profit, or you can give it away. It's always nice to invite people over and have them leave with a pound of coffee, or go over to a dinner party and bring the host, a pound of light and a pound of dark roast, if they like coffee. And it's really fun to experiment. Get an espresso maker. They're about $30 for a steam-powered Mr. Coffee espresso maker, and that got me through college. So roast some coffee, run it through there, see what happens. If it sucks, do it again, do it different. If it's awesome, do it the same way. It's not hard. All right, this is Chris Ferguson, owner of Good Turn Coffee and author of theironbuzz.com. You can find my recipe for Swedish egg coffee, AeroPress coffee, French press coffee, drip coffee, and espresso coffee, all on the Iron Buzz, and you can buy these very beans yourself at goodturncoffee.com. Enjoy your roasting.